Good evening. So I've never done this on YouTube or anything, and I was really hoping that whenever I was doing this video I would be a lot more alert, but I realised with kids I'm just going to have to do it at 10:30 at night. So this is going to be as short and as quick a video as possible, because there are a million other videos out there to tell you like best tips and tricks and things like that. I'm just going to try and do like one a Northern Ireland version and two like what we found, and it's not really a top 10. I think I keep going to 11 and things like that. And also this video may be deleted and re-put up whenever I go, oh actually I forgot about blah blah blah. So I thought I'd made a list, but I keep adding to it. So firstly, our travel and where we stayed. We travelled with to Paris Beauvais airport, really handy airport, really small. However, there's no train station or anything from it. You have to get a bus and then onto the train. But we were hiring a car because we were using the car before and after. So we just kind of thought we'll just hire a car and then just stay in the Davy Crockett Ranch, which was perfect for us because it meant that we had a freezer, which was a brilliant thing for us. And this is only specifically to us, but it made such a difference. And if you were what our plan was to do the Disney days and then extend our holiday to like a Eurocamp and just take a more chilled pace for a few days just to relax after the craziness of Disney, which worked really well. So we wanted to stay in somewhere that was like more self-catering, so we could have more snacks and more things in a fridge and things like that. So the reason why I really loved Davy Crockett's Ranch is because we had a freezer and I could freeze bottles of water. So then we could use the bottles of water in I had a cool bag with me, and then we could put yogurts and other things into the cool bag, and then they still stayed cool for our snacks like throughout the day. I also brought a flask with me, and I put like noodles into like already cooked noodles into the flask. So like if the kids did get hungry at times whenever we weren't planning on eating, or if we were in queues, the kids could just sit and I'd brought utensils with me, and noodles, or noodles in a flask. You could have done like pesto pasta or something. See, my kids are slightly fussy whenever it comes to sandwiches, but if you'd wanted in your cool bag, you could totally have just put in like baguettes and sandwiches and make up like kind of like just a proper lunch for yourselves. So that's why I thought Davy Crockett Ranch was definitely a winner for us. One, cheapest, not cheap. Disney's not cheap, but it gave us a bit more flexibility to what we could bring and what we could do. So the frozen bottles of water were brilliant because it was so warm, and then even you could take your frozen bottle of water once it half melted, go refill it up, and then just kept that water really lovely and cool whenever it was like busy warm days. Loads of people say about the wee squeezy juices, the wee Robinson squeezy juice. They don't sell diluting juice in France at all. They just do pure juice or like water and stuff like that, and like your fizzy juices. Everything costs so much, so bringing a couple of those wee squeezy juices like that lasted us for days. Now let's get into the nitty gritty of like actually what we did, what we found was really good. So I got obsessed with the app before we went. So there's an app called Disneyland Paris. It's brilliant. Now, what I would say is that the ride times lie to you. I did watch one YouTube video of an American coming over, trying out Disneyland Paris for the first time, whenever he had already been to the Florida and California or whatever parks, and he said that they were pretty much perfectly dead on time-wise. Paris ones are not. They are about 10 minutes out, I'd say, in a lot of cases and stuff. Depends where you count the queue from, but I'd say about 10 minutes out in a lot of cases. So say if something's going to be an hour, it's an hour and 10. You know what I mean? It's a bit, ugh. And that really pushes you into chaos mode. So that's where our cool bag of like food came into play an awful lot. In my cool bag, the top half of the cool bag, you don't do crisps and croissants and that sort of thing. Like your little box or little books and like pens and paper and stuff for the kids to write in and stuff was also in that bag. I'll do another video specifically on what was in that bag and what bag it was, because it was so helpful. Got it off Amazon actually. Shouldn't we do that soon, because it's a deal day today. If you're watching on the 12th of July, it's a deal day. So the app was amazing. because it helped you figure out what time of day rides were crazy busy and what time of day they kind of like calmed down again. So what you started to notice was that the rides were mad between like 11 and 5 p.m. Now, every now and again, you found a wee glitch or found a wee, oh, this one's gone a little bit lower, or maybe that ride has gone down, you know, there's been a fault or something, and then whenever it reopens, there's no queue, and you can just go straight there and get on very, very quickly. So we did that, we managed to do that with Spider-Man. I looked at it, it had just reopened, it said 15 minutes. I'd never seen it under an hour all that day. So ran over there. Now it was about 25 minutes before we got on, but still totally happy with 25 minutes rather than an hour whenever that it had been all day. So keeping an eye on the app, kind of knowing what rides should be at what queues. So it's a small world. Never do it more than 5 minutes. You're just straight on there. That's like a constant thing. Really, really easy to get onto. So it should be 5 minutes. Pirates of the Caribbean should never really be more than 5 minutes. Other things are a bit more flexible and depends how happy you are to queue. Now the queues, some of the queues don't feel like queues. I think I don't know if I've got that as a different point, but some of the queues don't feel like queues. So whenever you're walking through some of the bits and pieces, you're walking through stuff. You're walking through, like in the Pirates of the Caribbean, you're walking through like a whole kind of set, and it's really good. So the queue for example, Mickey Mouse in the main park, I can't remember what his room or whatever it's called, but you can watch little Mickey Mouse shorts the whole way through that queue. So my kids just sat and watched TV the whole time. So they were relaxed. They had a good 40 minutes of like a queue, but they didn't feel it at all because they were watching TV the whole time. Also the queue for Eeyore and Tigger, great queue because you wound kind of straight in front of them, so you could see them the whole time and they interacted with the crowd the whole way through. However, I noticed there was a queue for Geppetto and somebody else, and it was just one big long queue, so you couldn't see them from where you were queuing from. And those kind of characters that are all dressed up with the heads and stuff, they have to go for a break every 30 minutes. So say if you kind of go, and they probably spend about 3 to 5 minutes with each person. So if you kind of say there's at least 10 people in front of you, that's an hour long queue, really. So we didn't bother doing a few of them because we kind of looked at them and went, it's going to be a boring queue for that hour. And those queues were in the sunshine the whole time. So a lot of queuing is like under canopy, which was great. We were there on warm days but not roasting hot days, and the canopies kind of made all the difference. Like we were really not too bad. We didn't bring fans with us. I found them. I had an Amazon delivery the day before we left with the fans in it, and didn't bring the fans. Didn't need them. However, I've heard that you can, on really hot sunny days in the summer, really need a fan. So that's maybe an optional wee mini fan. If you know me, send me a message. I've got fans, and they're unused fans. You can have them. Because we stayed in Davy Crockett Ranch, we had a magic hour, which means it was 8:30 in the morning until 9:30 that only hotel guests can get in. Okay, so we had that 3 days in a row because we stayed, and I think this is a good tip. I hope. We stayed in an Airbnb the night before going to Disney. We didn't fly the day that we were going to Disney, if you know what I mean. We flew in 2 days before that, did Paris a day, stayed in an Airbnb really close to Disney so that we could get to Disney in time for the early morning hour. So we were about 20 minutes drive away. We had to stop in at Davy Crockett's Ranch to get our magic passes and then straight into the parks for 8:30. Now we were about 10 minutes late. We were about 10 minutes out of time on that morning, but we still got a good load of our magic hour done. Now the magic hours are so worth it to go in, even if you're tired on your third day. Just get a cup of coffee and get up and get on with it. It's so worth it because it's so much quieter. So the first day we went just to Discoveryland, and Mark and Ethan went and done hyperspace while I took the other girls on Orbitron. Then we met up for Autopia, and then we went to the carousel and Dumbo before we then had to go for Princess Breakfast at 9:45. So between 8:45 and 9:45 we got all those rides done, which was great. The second day I did Crush Coaster. Now that was already an hour long wait by the time we got there at 8:30 in the morning, which was insane. People do say don't bother doing Crush Coaster. I never saw Crush under an hour the whole rest of the day. And the thing is, that first thing in the morning, we were up for it. We were up for the queue and we were up for getting there. So it really wasn't a big deal to queue for that. So me and the two big girls queued for Crush, while Mark went and done RC Racer. No, not RC Racer. The Wee Cars ride, Aladdin's Magic Carpet, Slinky Dog, and was there another one? I can't remember if there might be another one in that. So he said, the parachute drop. So he done 4 rides in the time we done one. So he got all those done in Magic Hour. So that's your choice whether you go do those. So we were able to get all of those other rides done in short queues throughout the day because they always have short queues. However, Crush always has a long queue, and I've seen it go up to 180 minutes. So we were done in about 50, and I think that was fine. I was a wee bit sad that it was that much of a queue, but anyway, it was done. Third day, we went over to Big Thunder Mountain. We'd already done Big Thunder Mountain at one stay on the first day, later on in the evening, whenever I had less of a queue. But it was our favourite ride. We went back over to Big Thunder and got it done 3 times, or just 3 times, while it was a 5-minute queue, just like on and on and on. So 3 times, and then we went over to Peter Pan's flight and got on that before the queue got too big. So we got loads done in that Magic Hour. Then whenever the rides, the queue times got a bit bigger, between like 11 and 5, then we went and done the shows. So we went and seen the Lion King show. Whenever we were over in the Studios Park, we saw Frozen, the Disney Junior, and Mickey and the Magician. All 3 of them, we saw them back to back in the middle of the day. Just literally walked from one to the other. So it meant that we'd done a crazy load of rides in the morning, chilled and like just watched shows in the afternoon, and then went got food, and then went back on rides then in the evening, like after about 5 p.m, because people start to go for dinner at about 5, and then the queue times really drop. So what we did for food was, the first day we had the princess breakfast in the morning, which was amazing. If you can get Granny to buy it for a Christmas present before you go, absolutely 100% worth it. If you're paying for it yourself, I don't know. We loved it. We did really love it, and we loved the food, so we thought it was worth it. It's one of those things you have to just weigh up of if you see value in that or not. The character breakfast and character dinner, I would have liked to do that, but another time. It'll be for another time. And you can't do everything. You can't afford everything, so it was like pick one or the other. So we'd done the breakfast in the morning, so we just, whenever we were waiting for the parade in the evening, at like the 5:30 parade, I ran up to Bellinotti, got us our pizzas, Mickey Mouse pizzas for dinner, ate them while waiting for the parade to start. That was perfect. Day 2, snacked all morning, like had my big cool bag, snacked all morning, and then at 3:30 we went to Pim Kitchen, which was a buffet, all you can eat. It means that the kids can try everything, like they all have a range of food. I'm not sure if I'd 100% recommend Pim Kitchen. One, it was very, very noisy, even at 3:30 in the afternoon. It was just very dinny, a very loud room, and it didn't feel as relaxing as you'd want it to. I'm not sure if you know what I mean? I don't know, it just felt very, I don't know. The food was good. I'm just not sure if I'd choose it again. I wouldn't go back. There's other options. I wouldn't go back to it. I'd 100% get a Bellinotti pizza again, 100%. Not sure if I go back to Pim Kitchen. I can show pictures on this in the comments and stuff if you want. The third day we went to Agrabah, and the reason I wanted to go to Agrabah is because I'd seen some really lovely desserts, and I'd seen some like lovely pictures, and it was just like a lot more relaxed atmosphere, and it was a lot maybe less busy thing, and it's all like Middle Eastern food, and like I love that whole, I love a hummus, love all that sort of stuff. So I was in my element. Everybody else in my family had so much options of what they loved and things that they could eat. I can actually, I'll put in the comments like Aiden's dinner plates and stuff of what she ate as a child, and she absolutely loved it as well. So we had those meals at about 3:30 in the day. So it meant that by the time we were getting out of those buffets at 5 p.m, whenever other people were coming in, it was the rides were a lot, queue times were a lot smaller. So it meant that we had those. Now, next one, I'm only on 0.4 to be honest of all the 10 or 11 points I have, so sorry about this. I thought it was going to be a lot quicker than this. Bring water bottles. Do well, either buy one thing of water, then refill it for the day. Water tastes all right. It's not the nicest water in the world, but it's fine. Some refill stations, like the one in Fantasyland, couldn't find the one in Fantasyland, but the ones everywhere else we could find them super easily. I think the one in Fantasyland beside Bellinaughty isn't there anymore. It's still on the app, but we couldn't find it. So, but every other one we found super easily and refilled with water. But I would highly recommend bringing a water bottle, especially maybe even like one of those metal ones that's like, insulated, that keeps it nice and cool if you can, or as I say, frozen the day before. You wouldn't survive the day without them. Bellinaughty was really good value food. I think we ate as a family of 5 for about €30 or something like that. Bought one kid's meal and 2 adult pizzas, and then just shared that. Cowboy Cookout always seemed like a really good deal as well for the food, but we never got to try it. It was on my to-do list, but you can't do everything. And Cowboy Cookout is kind of like out of the way. It's in Frontierland, down beside just past Big Thunder Mountain, and unless you're down that direction at the time you want to eat, it's a wee bit annoyingly out of the way, whereas Bellinaughty is a bit easier to get to. Also, you just kind of like, I booked meals for the places I wanted to go to, but also checked the app on the day to see if there was a time that seemed to be suiting us better. So for example, I'd had Pim Kitchen booked for 6 p.m. because that's the only time I could get on the app 2 months before we went. But whenever I was there on the day, I looked it up and went, oh, there's a slot here at 3:30. Let's go for that instead. So keep checking the app to see if is the restaurant that's right beside you, does it have an opening right now that you can go to? So that would be great. How long do you need to go to Disney for? We did 3 days, 2 nights in Davy Crockett's, 3 full days in the park. 3 full days in the park. The very first day, it closed early, 9:30 p.m. because of the riots that were happening in Paris at that time. This is the early July 23, so you can look that up in the news if you want to know what that was about. So it closed at 9:30 for 2 nights in a row. We were only there the second night that it closed 2 nights in a row at 9:30. So we had, we were there 8:30 in the morning till the 9:30 at night. The next day we were there until after the fireworks, 8:30 in the morning until fireworks at night. And the next day we left about 9:30 again because we were travelling about an hour to our next accommodation. So 8:30 in the morning too. So we did 3 full days. Got every ride done. I don't think there was anything we missed apart from the drawing thing in the artist drawing thing in studios. Can't remember what that was called, but we just missed it. If we'd been there 4th day, I would have queued for more characters. Like we didn't see Olaf, but we will go back at some stage and see Olaf. That was the only thing that I wanted to do that I didn't get done. But if like 3 days, got all the rides done. We don't have any priority access, or we didn't use any priority passes, or we didn't pay any extra for any rides whatsoever, and we got all of the rides done and multiples done. Like as in we got all our favorites done again, and had an absolutely perfect time. But we were there the full day. We didn't, apart from like breaking for our buffet dinner in the middle of the day, we didn't stop at all. So if you felt like you wanted to do a little bit more chilled, a little bit more relaxed, take a little bit of time off, then you'd need 4 days at least. But we got everything done happily in 3. Parent swap. Now, I thought everybody knew about this because I've been following stuff on. There's loads of good Facebook pages. Actually, by the way, if you want to like ask questions and stuff, go onto those Facebook pages. They have been so helpful of asking like all the silly random questions that you have before you go. Now, parent swap was one of the things that I found out about whenever I was on one of those Facebook pages, and I kind of assumed that everybody knew. Then, whenever I was at the campsite that we went to afterwards, I was chatting to a couple of parents who had been to Disney as well, and I was like, "Oh, but you could use," and they like were like, "Never heard of that." And I was like, oh. Anyway, parent swap. So for any ride that is a child that cannot go on it, so for we had a child that's under a meter tall, and so she couldn't go on most things, or a lot, or some things. So for everything like that, I would have taken maybe the other two on. Then whenever I was getting off the ride, I would have asked for a parent swap. Now, on some rides, that was a code word, and the code word changed every day. And on some rides, that was a little physical token, and they just handed it to you, and then you got your other half to walk up the exit or priority line. And normally you could take the kids with you as well to it. There was one occasion whenever they said that you were only allowed to bring one child back up the thing again, so we just kind of said we just left it like that and let one child go. It wasn't too big of an argument, thankfully, but the rest of the time they let all three of them go back up again and go on the ride again. So it meant that, say for Crush Coaster, I'd queued with the girls in the morning. Mark had done a load of rides, and then I asked for a parent swap. He was able to walk up the priority pass with the two girls again, or with well, that was the one with one of the girls again, and go on, and he was on and off again within 15 minutes, which was great. And then he did the queue for Flight Force, and then he, not Flight Force, that was called. Yeah, I think it was called Flight Force. And then he then asked for a parent swap, and then I was able to jump back on within a few minutes. And the parent swap made an absolute difference to our day. It meant that none of us were like standing around waiting on each other for hours. Also, sometimes Talitha was just tired and just wanted to nap and stuff whenever we were on things, so that was good. They don't allow, no, this isn't one that's not on my, I have a child awake upstairs. Hopefully Mark will deal with that. I'll go up in a wee minute or two. Sounds like two children awake upstairs. This video may be cut short. Let's see what happens. So, one of the, two children screaming at each other. So I may pause this and then add two videos together, see how we go. But what we've got is whenever they did not allow you to bring a pram in a queue, which was very, very annoying. So say for example, if Talitha was very tired, but it was a really good ride time, and we weren't allowed to bring the pram in the queue, you had to leave the pram there. So then you had this tired toddler who did not want to be standing and queuing. So I brought a wee lightweight carrier, so I could put her on obviously all the snacks, all the stuff anyway, but I brought this like little lightweight, it's I can't remember what the make is of it, but really good, like just one that like scrumbles up into a wee pouch, and then you just like can strap it on because they don't allow you. And then it meant that you weren't using your arms, you still had your arms for the other kids and to get things out of your bag and all that sort of stuff, and just able to strap her on, and that was a really helpful thing to bring with us as well, instead of having to just like manhandle her, because she can fall asleep in the carrier on me. It's exhausting. Yes, it was tiring and sweaty, but it was worth it to have that. I think I've said this, some queues feel different. So the queue for Geppetto and stuff like that would have felt like an hour, and some queues don't feel like an hour. So if you want to kind of like maybe watch a couple of YouTube videos on like what queues are nice to do, if you know what I mean. Peter Pan's flight queue, it was rough. We got it at about 30 minutes long, and even that felt like 30 minutes, if you know what I mean. And is it worth it? I don't think so. Okay. Yes, we did shows midday, rest for some shopping in the middle of the day, and then back on the rides in the evening. They're still crying. Mark went out to them, but he's obviously it's not going well. it's not going well. Fireworks, the best spot for fireworks. Okay, so I did not think I would be this person. Whenever it came to fireworks, I said, it'll be fine. We'll just find somewhere. It's not a big deal. We don't need the perfect location. We don't need the perfect spot. You do. I wanted the perfect spot. So what happened was that night, we'd obviously been there from 8:30 in the morning. We were tired by like 9:30. We had enough snacks and stuff to kind of just plonk down and be like, this is where we're going to be for the fireworks. So we found a wee spot just behind the disability area. So like it's a cordoned off area, and we just like got a spot just on that line right behind it, and we waited for the hour and a half. Now, you may say that is insane to sit and wait for fireworks for an hour and a half, because the rides stay open to 10 o'clock, but we were tired, and Big Thunder Mountain still had a 30-minute queue at 9:30 at night, and we weren't up for queuing anymore. We were happy just to sit and wait. I had enough snacks. I had pens, paper, like things with me. They'd bought wee shoulder pets that day, so they had those to kind of fiddle around with. We had the pram, so the baby could kind of get into that and fall asleep if need be. We had enough food to kind of keep us occupied. So we thought it was the best thing to do, is just take that break. And I mean, we could see the fireworks so perfectly. And because whenever you're looking at the fireworks are it's not really a fireworks display, it's a light show. So what it is it's mostly things on the castle, so like pictures of the characters on the castle, all done in lights. So if you're not seeing the castle well, like say if you're down Main Street and you have somebody tall standing in front of you, you're not seeing it because it's not as up in the air as you would think it would be. It's just on the castle. So if it was fireworks and you were looking up for fireworks, perfect. But because it's like on the castle, you kind of need to see the castle perfectly. And we were only going to do this once. We may never be back in Disney. I wanted to see them well. I actually have a video on here of our view of the fireworks, and I think it was so worth it. So the disability area is, if you're looking at the castle, it's just around to the left of the castle, as if you're heading into Frontierland, just there. And we just kind of got right up the wall. We were there at 9:30, got a front row spot. We sat it out. We were not squished. We were not pushed. People were not trying to get in our way. I think on Main Street, people have very, very different ordeals. Obviously, it took us ages to get out again whenever the fireworks were over, but we were all happy that we'd seen them so well, that we'd had such a good experience of seeing them, that it was worth it. So the fireworks were so lovely, or the whole show was so lovely and so worth it. And the drone show starts at 10 to 11, so 9:30 to 10 to 11. That's all right. It's all right. The other thing, I think this is the very last point that I've got written down here. Check out what you can buy online before you go, or at least scroll through your phone whenever your child is trying to pick something up in the shop and you're going, can I get this for cheaper at home? Now, I would say a load of the plushes, like a load of the teddies and things like that, like you're going to get them on a 20% off sale on Disney Online at some point. I don't think you need to buy them in Disney. Anything that says Disneyland Paris, anything that was like a 30th anniversary thing, you can obviously only get it there at the time and stuff. So that was the things that we kind of focused on a bit more, was like getting things that were like specific to Disneyland Paris or specific to whatever. Whereas like say for example, I couldn't see all the shoulder pets. I have never seen all the shoulder pets online to be able to get, and ones like that. So I was like, no, we need to get them here. Our car's got a wee Minnie Mouse 30th anniversary teddy. You'll not be able to get that again after this year, so I was like, get that. I got a couple of wee things that just like had anniversary stuff on it, but there was definitely a lot of things that you can buy in Disney Store online. Wait for a 20% off or 50% off sale, and you do not need to be getting them there. You can have them clicked so that they can be there by the time you even get home from the holiday, and you're not having to carry them backwards and forwards on the airplane. So just kind of keep the eye out on that. Obviously, t-shirts from Primark, ears from AliExpress or Etsy or anything. You do not need to be paying €30 for a pair of ears that you're going to accidentally put into your bag and squash and then not be able to wear them anyway. So for a £2 pair of ears, that's totally fine. If you had paid €30, you'd be raging. So we didn't spend any money on things like that. some people had driven me absolutely mad on things saying that every child had one of these light up bubble wands. I didn't see any children with them. Literally, not even one child had a bubble wand. And I'd kind of gone, I need to find a bubble wand before I leave. But thankfully, nobody else had a bubble wand. We didn't need to worry about it. And so it's fine. Now, children are asleep upstairs again. I can no longer hear any more drama going on upstairs. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, now that was my top 11 points, I think. If you can think of anything else, let me know. If you get any questions, like, shout. I can I feel like I've done enough research and I drove myself mad enough trying to figure out how to do Disney as well as I possibly could, to let my kids make it look like it was an easy time, or where to stand for like the Dream and Shine Brighter parade and stuff. Now, some people say if you stand at the Fantasyland entrance where it's coming in, all the characters are full of energy, and like that's where to spot them. Definitely. However, I love the characters coming off the floats and seeing or like getting interactions and stuff with them. The first day we accidentally stood in front of the castle, and then a float was right in front of us, so we didn't get as good a view as the next day. We came around the side and kind of was like, let's say 5 o'clock to the castle, if you know what I mean. And so just off Main Street to the right. No, yes, that's Main Street to the right. What on earth? I can't see. I can't let this too late at night. To the right, about 5 o'clock to the castle, I would say. And it meant you could see all the float or all the kind of stages, the four stages, or stand right at a stage so that you can kind of see absolutely everything. We would have watched that show 15 times if we'd had the time. It was really, really good. Loved the songs. Like, some kids, I bet you, are kind of going only there for the rides. Some kids are only there for the show. Some kids are only there for the characters. We kind of wanted to do as much as we possibly could, and I feel like we did get as much as we possibly could done in those 3 days, but we were exhausted, absolutely exhausted, but absolutely loved it. I had the best time. Would highly recommend for anyone who's thinking about going. Just, if you can, go for it. I would, if you want a breakdown spreadsheet of exactly what everything cost, I could do it. Obviously we'd factored in Christmas money, birthday money, asked grandparents to pay for certain parts of it, and things like that, just to kind of make it like, this is your Christmas and birthday presents for this full year. Like, this is it. Like, this is all we're doing. To try and make it like a viable option for us. And then the things that we bought, nothing was lunacy by any stretch. So I don't know. Could you do Disney on a budget, or what would Disney on a budget look like? You could definitely do it. Like, you know, with all the snacks and the best value food and things like that. So I could tell you where all those are and things like that. Yeah, wee bits and pieces. But that's enough for me for tonight. I'm gonna go get into bed. Hopefully these children don't wake back up again, because this is about 11 o'clock at night here. I don't know what's happened upstairs, so we'll go find that out. Thanks for watching along. Any questions, give me a shout. Bye.